In 1520 daytime, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County, and 106.5 in Bloomington Normal all the time. Plus, streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com on the WHOW mobile app. Plus, hear a best of Clinton sports broadcast Saturday mornings at 10. All brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick, Clinton Community YMCA, Covenant Animal Clinic, and Jason France, your State Farm insurance agent in Clinton.
Hi there, I'm here to tell you a little about this new program called Safe to Help Illinois.
Maybe you know somebody who's being bullied, or worse, thinking about hurting themselves or others. If you don't feel safe telling an adult about the things that are happening around you, check out Safe to Help.
Safe to Help is not about snitching or getting someone in trouble. It's about helping one another out.
You can call, you can text.
You can download the free mobile app, and it's all over social media.
So what do you say? Let's give it a try.
Brought to you by IEMA.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
In this WHOW 75th anniversary feature, we hear from Bill Ward and just how WHOW came to be.
It was first started there with about 4 or 5 Clinton businessmen and bankers and a doctor, Dr. Keith Ray, and a banker, Tom Dinsmore, and several others. Frank Moots was a automobile salesman or owner of an automobile store here in town. And they got together and decided we needed a radio station. And so they filed for a daytime radio station. Well, they built the studios up above the Cannonball store, which was a home-owned ladies' department store, which was downstairs. We went up the flight of stairs and turned to the left a little bit, and that's where the studios of WHOW were born. I don't know how they decided upon it. I wasn't in on, of course, of their meetings and so on, but we certainly appreciate the fact that they did start WHOW here in Clinton, and of course remains on the air today, which is great for the area. August of 1947 is when it was born, and of course it's now had a long, plentiful life. When we first started broadcasting there, we only had a 100-foot tower. And of course, it was strictly AM at that time. And later, Relivasi applied for the FM part of the station and put the additional aerial up on top of the tower. But when we were broadcasting with the 100-foot tower, actually, we'd have a proof of performance time. And we would be getting letters from New Zealand and Australia and things like that. I suppose it was Radio Skip at the time, but it made us feel good that we're getting out across the world, you know. So I'm glad that the station is really doing well. Clinton deserves a good station, and I know this is going to be a better station because of the new improvements.
That was Bill Ward on this WHOW 75th anniversary feature.
News time is 10 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday morning. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and we stream to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. Early Tuesday evening, Clinton residents in the southwest portion of the community were evacuated over a gas leak. The impacted residents were in the area of West Main Street to West White Street and South Center Street to South Walnut Street. Residents in the Center Street to Poplar Street and Main Street to South Street areas were allowed to re-enter their homes around 6:30 p.m., while the remaining residents were allowed re-entry upon verification from Ameren that homes were safe. The reports came in first around 5 p.m. Monday evening. Around 12:35 a.m. Monday, Clinton Fire was called to a house fire on West Washington. While on patrol, Clinton Police Department observed the blaze and called fire authorities to the scene. The structure was vacant and was discovered with heavy fire conditions on the third story of the home. Joining Clinton Fire in fighting the blaze were Kenny, Wapella, and Waynesville fire departments. Crews knocked the flames on the ground level, with Clinton Fire's ladder truck knocking down the flames on the upper level. Crews were able to create a more stable situation and finish fighting the blaze from the interior. No injuries were reported. DeWitt County EMS was also at the scene. Crews were able to clear the scene around 4 a.m. The incident is under investigation by the Illinois Fire Marshal's Office. The Department of Natural Resources Conservation Police is looking for new officers. Captain John Williamson explains they are hitting the recruiting trail very hard and need 25 officers. He indicates the hiring environment is very difficult right now for law enforcement, and that includes DNR.
We're getting ready to hire another class. We're looking for 25 candidates. We've got a couple guys, a couple of our officers that we've put towards recruiting and getting out there, hitting the sports shows, going to the colleges, career fairs, all sorts of stuff, looking for our best candidates. And right now it's just tough for law enforcement to hire. You know, I've been an executive class last week and talking to police agencies from all over the state. You know, they'll trying to hire 5 guys and they may have 3 or 4 show up for the testing and that sort of stuff. So we're getting beat up pretty bad. I think a lot of it has to do, I think, with the media and the portrayal of police officers, that sort of thing. Luckily here in Central Illinois, we don't, you know, I think we've got a lot of support, but you get towards your bigger cities and stuff, it gets a little tougher. So just one of those things that we go with. Now we have changed kind of our hiring. The state has done this all over police agencies. We've lowered our requirements. Instead of requiring a bachelor's degree, we're now just going back to, I think it's 64 hours. I'd have to look for sure, of college. It doesn't even have to be a degree. It's just 64 credit hours of college completed, you know, and in special circumstances, even a high school degree will work if you've been in the military and have certain campaign medals, that sort of thing. I see. So it'll go back to that. So those kind of things, if you're interested, please go on our website and look. If you have any questions, our two officers that are recruiters, you can call them, find out if you make it or not. So you know, you can get your application in. Once you get that application in, you'll go through an oral interview. And then if you're selected after that, you'll go through some testing, some physical testing, that sort of thing. So there's just a whole list of stuff. It takes a while to hire, but we hopefully will have a class in the academy starting in July.
Captain Williamson indicates the style of law enforcement that Conservation Police offers is enjoyable. He believes the moniker game warden is something embraced by those in the DNR field.
Our style of law enforcement is different. And now we're trying to attract some lateral transfers too. So, you know, that get some guys over that maybe want to get out of the traditional law enforcement, or tired of domestic violence calls, or tired of some of that, and want to come over and work for us and do our style of work. We really enjoy that. And that's what we do. You know, it was amazing. You know, I went to the academy in 2000. I'm one of the old dogs now. I'm looking at retirement, and that's what we're trying to hire, is to replace guys like me that are getting ready to retire. In 2000, you know, I went to the academy thinking I'm going to be a game warden, you know, and I get to the State Police Academy like, wait a minute, there's a lot of regular law enforcement work type stuff to do. And is this something I'm going to enjoy? I started out in Northern Illinois and in our parks and stuff. I did a lot of regular police work, that sort of thing. And I really enjoyed it. You get into it, you enjoy it. I mean, you make of it what you can. I've been all over the state, from a mile to the Wisconsin line to within 20 miles of the Kentucky line. And our job is so different from north to south. I enjoyed all of it.
One of the drawbacks for many years at the Conservation Police Force level was officers have to start in Northern Illinois, and it could be several years before an individual returns closer to home. Captain Williamson indicates changing that is something they are exploring to keep officers in the force and make it attractive to join.
And that's really tough for us to battle. We don't lose officers to other agencies. And we've started to do that. And
really?
State Police was one of them, because people were able to go back home. So we're looking at that. You know, that involves not only just decisions we make department for agency wide, but also affects union contracts, everything else. So we're starting to look at that. We're starting to look at more of the state police model in that, so that we can keep these guys. But the problem we have is that you have a district of troopers that are all over the place, and there may be, you know, 10, 15, 20 of them. And us, at times we get down to 2 or 3 officers in a district, and we don't want them all living in one area, because you want to have coverage. Well, we're having to look at, maybe we need to stop worrying about coverage and everything. With cell phones now, everything else, it's not like we needed to have a neighbor tell us what's going on. We'll get a phone call, that sort of thing. So we're looking at different ways to do it, but it's still tough. We want to be involved in our communities. I want to, if I was a DeWitt County officer, I'd want to live in DeWitt County. I want to know the hunters, the fishermen. I want to be able to go to the sportsman's club and have them know me. I want to go to the wild game banquet that's going on this weekend. I want to show up to that sort of stuff and be a part of the community. Yeah. If we start living outside the community, are we going to be a part of that community?
According to Captain Williamson, while they are starting to see young officers who may not be as passionate about hunting or fishing join the force, most of the conservation police officers got into the line of work because of their passion for the outdoors. It's 18 minutes after the hour here on this Tuesday morning. Stay with us. We've got plenty more coming your way on the WHOW Morning Show.
At Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Baum Motor Company in Farmer City, our job is to help you and solve your transportation needs. This is Scott Baum, both in Clinton or Farmer City. We'll listen and find options for a different vehicle, or we'll give you repair options to keep that car, truck, or SUV safe and trouble-free so you can continue with your busy schedule. If it has to do with transportation, we're here to help. Visit our full-service team today in Clinton or Farmer City. Baum Chevrolet Buick, right from the start.
It's 18 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Tuesday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. A reminder, we stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. The Dudley Smith Farm Initiative is introducing more crop rotation into its tile drainage research. Kristen Greer, University of Illinois Department of Crop Sciences Senior Research Specialist, hopes this will aid in tile drainage.
We have looked at previously in 4 years, we had continuous corn where we looked at different nitrogen management practices and some cover crop usages. So that's what we've been doing. We've been managing that for 4 years, and now we're getting ready to start a new phase. Starting with 2022, this year we started going back to a corn soybean rotation. So we had soybeans this last year, which was new. It was a nice change from 4 years of corn. And then we changed the treatment focus from nitrogen management to more of a cover crop, looking at different species of cover crops and how they affect the tile nitrate drainage and what would the trade-offs and the benefits to using different cover crops.
She says this happens throughout different growing stages of research.
So we have 4 treatments over the field. There's a corn soybean, just a standard practice rotation. And then the second rotation, we would take and add cereal rye every fall as a cover crop. The third rotation, we started with a clover radish cover crop mix. And on the fourth rotation, we actually added wheat to the rotation. So in fall of 21, we planted wheat and then followed that in summer of 22 with double crop soybeans.
Results are still developing, but Greer says early data points to a positive outcome.
We started to look at the preliminary data and looking at the trade-offs there. What we found was really that even with the wheat needing nitrogen to take off and get growing, it still had a lower nitrate loss from the tile drainage system. And that was primarily due to less drainage coming out of the system. So we had about 42 inches, I believe, of rainfall hit the drainage system last year. The cereal rye and the other treatments, the corn, just the soybeans, managed to use about half of that. So half of that came through the drainage system and half of it was used by the plants. And when we looked at the wheat and the double crop soybeans, it used much more. The plants used much more of that water. So we only had about a third of that go through the tile drainage system, which greatly reduced the nitrate load.
You can learn more by visiting dsi.aces.illinois.edu. Greer says there's a wealth of information there.
There's two places you can look. You can look at the Dudley Smith website there with the College of ACES, or you can also look at our projects website, which is Illinois Drain Drop, iDrop.
Greer presented last week at the Dudley Smith Field Day in southern Christian County. The governor is set to give his budget address tomorrow. It will be the first one he delivers in front of the General Assembly in 2 years. Governor Pritzker hasn't said much in the weeks leading up to the address, but if you look back to his inauguration speech, plans for education should be a highlight.
That's why I propose we go all in for our children and make preschool available to every family throughout the state.
The governor will speak tomorrow in the House chambers at the Illinois State Capitol. Hear the governor's address in its entirety right here on WHOW and stream live online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski visited Riverbend Head Start in Granite City yesterday to join students making cards for the Valentines for Veterans program. Budzinski was recently appointed to the House Committee on Veterans Affairs, where she says she'll focus on ensuring every veteran in central and southern Illinois has access to the benefits they've earned, in particular, health care.
So obviously wanting to make sure that access to health care for veterans is a priority. As you know, in some of our more rural communities, sometimes access to health care, access to specialty care is a challenge. And so I really want to be focused on this work within the committee to making sure that our veterans get the health care that they deserve and that it's accessible, obviously, to them.
She says she would like to concentrate on behavioral health, making sure vets have access to mental health and substance abuse treatment. While the political debate on the nation's debt ceiling continues, Illinois' senior senator has a message for those who want to default. Democrat Dick Durbin says the clocks are ticking and all eyes are on Washington.
3 times during President Trump's presidency, he asked us to extend the debt limit. We did it without a negotiation. We did it on a bipartisan basis because it's a responsible thing to do. If you went out last night to a local restaurant and used your credit card, had a nice meal, you expect to get the credit card bill and pay it on time, or there's a penalty. The penalty for the United States in the debt limit is not paying our national credit card and watching interest rates go up. What does that mean? It means the value of your home goes down. Fewer homes are being sold, fewer cars are being sold, and you see across the board the economy slipping into a recession. Millions of jobs could be lost. Why would we play games with something that serious? We have never defaulted on our debt, and we shouldn't play games here. What we said to Speaker McCarthy after he went through 15 ballots to become Speaker, put it on the table. What do you want to do? What is it? One of the proposals, listen to this, is a 30% federal sales tax. 30%. Loaf of bread, $4 at the store, well, add $1.20 to it as a federal tax. I mean, it's a crazy notion. It's going nowhere, but they say they want to vote on it. And I frankly think it's irresponsible to do that to the debt ceiling.
The nation's top brass has until early June to strike a deal until the country defaults on its loans. If a default occurs, it could be a nightmare on Wall Street. Many producers may see their profit margins squeezed a bit this year as commodity prices fall and input costs rise. Gary Crawford has more. USDA's February global wheat forecast reveals record production for two of the world's largest growing countries. Rod Bain has this outlook. "29 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. Coverage of news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton."
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in